practice, this meeting will be recorded. The board provides remote access for members of the public and welcomes all community members joining in person and remotely. The board is following the requirements of Assembly Bill AB 2449, which enables remote participation by board members only under specific circumstances. We use simultaneous interpretation in Spanish for those attending virtually through the end of public comment. Translation will continue further into the meeting if people are utilizing the channel. Thank you to our interpreter, Teresa Mendeville, for joining us remotely. For meeting attendees wishing to access the Spanish translation channel on Zoom, click on the interpretation button on the menu bar. We ask that all speakers be mindful of the Spanish interpretation and speak slowly and clearly. I ask board members to speak directly into the microphone and remind all speakers who are wearing masks to remove their masks when speaking in order to be clearly heard by all attendees. I also warmly welcome our Youth Commission liaison, Seth Weinfield. Good evening, Seth.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me.
Item 1B is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
There is a motion to approve the agenda made by Mr. Cannon and a second by Mr. Limpert. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion passes with a unanimous vote, and the agenda for tonight's meeting has been approved. Item 2A is public comment. Guidelines for public comment are available on the San Mateo County Office of Education website and in board docs, as well as on the table outside the boardroom in both English and Spanish. If there are speakers who require Spanish interpretation, our interpreter, Ms. Mendeville, will interpret following each speaker's comments. At this time, members of the public may provide comment for topics not included on the agenda tonight. The County Board of Education does not act upon any matter that has not been agendized except under limited circumstances as permitted by law. It is the policy of the County Board to refer matters raised in this forum to staff for investigation and/or action where appropriate. Superintendent McGee, do we have any comments submitted prior to the meeting?
We did receive one comment from Wesley Liu. It's been emailed to the board and will be posted on the board's website. The two comments are about gratitude to the board for supporting AB 906, which is the court and community school funding through the governor's budget. And secondly, a note of thanks to Youth Commission liaison Seth Weinfield for his commitment. So
Thank you.
sitting right next to me, I should say that out loud.
Speakers are invited to make live comment and have 3 minutes to speak. The board's executive assistant, Jennifer Perna, will keep the time and advise when the speakers have 30 seconds left. Please keep within the time limits. To make a comment over Zoom, members of the public may use the raised hand feature. Instructions for using this feature are provided as an attachment in the board packet. Once the hand is raised, please wait to be acknowledged by Superintendent McGee. Superintendent McGee, are there any members of the public remotely who wish to make a comment at this time?
We have one hand raised for Janice Pellizzari. Janice, I think you're cleared to talk.
Good evening, President Gerard, Board Trustees.
Youth Commissioner Weinfeld and Superintendent McGee. My name is Jess Balzari. I'm the SMCA president. I'm here to put in a plea to you, Superintendent McGee. We were working on the strategic plan today at school, and as we're doing the school part of it, I don't know if I haven't heard it or just didn't process it, that we are going to be addendum to the strategic plan. I'm asking, since we're part of one SMCOE, if we could maybe be goal 5. So we're in the plan and not just an addendum, because addendums seem to slip away and go away. So if at all possible, the school program would like to be part of it, the whole of your new plan. And that's all I have to say. I do want to make a public comment to 17th District PTA for the nice breakfast they brought in to teachers this week for Teacher Appreciation. It was received well and very much appreciated. So thank you.
I can make a quick response to that, Ms. Pellizzari. The goal for the strategic plan for the schools will be that it will be integrated into the strategic plan of the county office.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Superintendent McGee, are there any members of the public, are there any members of the public who have submitted a card for in-person comments?
We have no cards, lots of members of the public, but no cards tonight.
Okay, thank you. Public comment addressing specific agenda items will be heard immediately before the board takes them up. If members of the public wish to speak to a specific agenda item, please use the raised hand feature when the item is announced, or if in person, submit a card in advance of the item. Item 3A is the May 2023 Employee of the Month, Amy Okuto, teacher, deaf and hard of hearing, Early Start Program, Educational Services Division. Amy, will you please join me up in front? Thank you. Each month, the board and superintendent recognize an employee for providing outstanding service. For the month of May, we recognize Amy Okuto, teacher, deaf and hard of hearing in Educational Services Division. Amy joined the County Office of Education in 2006 as a paraeducator in the special education program, a role she held until 2011. Amy returned to the county office full-time in 2019 as a teacher, deaf and hard of hearing. Amy is one of the first providers a family engages with on their child's educational journey. Her kind and caring demeanor, coupled with her extensive expertise, is the perfect combination that makes a meaningful and lasting difference for students and families and caregivers. Amy is an exceptional teacher and is dedicated to supporting students and families in the Early Start program. She is a tireless advocate for access and education for our youngest learners and sets a foundation of support and success for their educational careers. Amy is innovative, has a growth mindset, and seeks to develop new knowledge and skills. She stays current in her field and consistently thinks about how to elevate the services the program provides to students and families. Amy's dedication to her work is also reflected in her willingness to make herself available when needed to address an urgent matter, even during scheduled time away. Her passion for her work shines through, and her heart for students and families is always at the center of everything she does. Amy's supervisor and colleagues are grateful for all she brings to the team at the Ann Campbell Center for Children and Families and our San Mateo County Office of Education Special Education Program. We are proud of our San Mateo County Office of Education staff and are pleased to recognize Amy for her outstanding work. Congratulations, Amy, for being named May 2023 Employee of the Month.
Thank you very much for this honor. Good evening, Board President Gerard, members of the board, Superintendent McGee, and Commissioner Winfield, excuse me. I would like to thank my first inspiration to go into the field of special education. It's my mother, Michelle. She's sitting in the back. I am first an advocate because I got to see the world through my mother's experience. I learned that the world is not accessible to everyone. So thank you for your example and your courage. I would like to thank my very supportive manager, Ms. Heather Logan, sitting there. It's hard to do good work without a great manager. I'm very thankful for her openness and her support. Thank you to Ms. Leslie, who is sitting in front of Heather. We work together. She's a paraeducator, and without her support, I could not support children and families. Thank you to my father, who encouraged me to go into this field and to join the amazing folks here in San Mateo County Office of Ed. Thank you for my daughter who's filming. Thanks. My husband is working tonight, so he can't be here. I thank my mother-in-law sitting behind my daughter. That's Sarah Nay. She is an advocate in her own right. I was going to mention how thankful I am to work here in the place I grew up. I was able to see students with all disabilities excel here in San Mateo County. I was inspired by those specialists as a student, and I was inspired by those students who became some of my best friends. And I thank you for all of your work to help programs run smoothly and help people like me do our jobs. I really appreciate the honor. Thank you.
We really appreciate you, Amy. Thank you. And we have a little token of our appreciation. And thank you so much for all you do. Thank you.
Jen, where did you want us to speak from for this part? So just stand at the table? Okay, great, thank you. So now you're gonna talk to the group. I can stand. And then your script is- So I do? All right. All right, here we go. This isn't a dress rehearsal. This is the real thing. Welcome to the 2023 Recognition Awards presentation at the San Mateo County Board of Education. Thanks to all of our attendees for allowing the board and our county office team and myself celebrate you for everything you do every day for students and families in San Mateo County. You are the members who contribute to our county's rich learning landscape, and in the process, you support student learning and success. As we go through tonight's program, we'll invite honorees to come forward, highlight the individual or team accomplishment, and present recognition certificates. Everybody gets a rose. And then at the end of the presentation, we're gonna take a recess. Of course, we must have cake. And then we will invite the honorees to use the photo backdrop for photos. So you can do pictures with your team individually. The board members are happy to step in and photobomb with you. And so we're just so grateful that you all got in your cars on this night, and it's such a busy time and came out for this event. So we're going to begin by recognizing the volunteers who work in our programs and in our schools. And in San Mateo County, as you know, if you're in a school district, you know how important volunteers are to supporting everything that we do. It was a tough time too, coming out of COVID, because the volunteer community really had to stay home and couldn't come forward. And then even when we did come back to school, it was tough to fully and get everybody back on campus. And I'm grateful that the room is full tonight. It's a really sign that we're really kind of rolling on all four cylinders or four tires or whatever, however those cars work. But volunteers serve in classrooms and libraries, organize events, coach teams and clubs, serve on commissions and boards, and most importantly, connect with individual children and are those caring adults that can be the difference between wanting to come to school one day or every day. So I'd like to express my personal gratitude, but this is the gratitude of the County Board of Education tonight to all of those outstanding individuals who are assembled here and who have supported our San Mateo County Office of Education programs. Your contributions are invaluable and enrich the lives of our students in meaningful ways. So thank you all very much. And I'm going to invite President Gerard to introduce the first group of volunteers.
Thank you. Well, it is my honor to begin, and we honor our volunteers in the court and community school programs. Chris Cannon and Doris Murray. Would Chris and Doris please come forward? Chris and Doris volunteer in the Judy Mumma Library at Hillcrest School, and their generous gift of time working in the library and with students ensures that students connect with engaging and relevant content and expands student learning beyond the classroom. Thank you both so much for your support of our students and school programs. Congratulations, Chris and Doris. Thank you. And believe me, they do a terrific job. We just visited them in the library a couple of weeks ago, and the kids love them. So thank you. Thank you.
Librarians are the best.
Next, we honor Mike McCord and Desiree Thayer, volunteers with the Youth Climate Ambassadors Program. Would Mike and Desiree please come forward? The Youth Climate Ambassadors Program started in Burlingame under the direction of Mike and Desiree, and over the years has grown into a strong collaborative partnership among the county office, the San Mateo County Office of Sustainability, and the nonprofit organization Actera. Mike and Desiree tirelessly contribute their time, mentoring during bi-monthly workshops, providing coaching for community impact projects, and serving as dedicated members of the Youth Climate Ambassadors team. Thank you to Mike and Desiree for the inspiring work you do for students and for leading the next generation of youth to become not only stewards of our planet, but leaders in the environmental movement. Congratulations, Mike and Desiree. Thank you so much.
And we just celebrated 70 students last Saturday at the Youth Climate Ambassadors culminating event. And Mike and Desiree were both there, and the room was packed with really inspiring young people. So future is bright.
Next, we recognize the volunteers who supported San Mateo County Offices of Education 2023 Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, or STEM Fair. This year, 53 volunteer judges reviewed and rated student projects, remotely interviewed students, and selected the first, second, and honorable mention awards for each grade and category. The judges offered a considerable amount of time and expertise to support students and ensure the success of our STEM fair. We couldn't hold the event without the judges and are grateful for their dedication and service. The names of the STEM Fair volunteer judges are listed on the screens. Please let us give our STEM Fair volunteers a round of applause. Let's give all of our amazing volunteers one more round of applause. And thank you. Superintendent McGee will now introduce our recognition award winners.
So our first recognition award winner tonight is the Outdoor Education Cabin Leader of the Year. This is one of our favorite. Oh, you guys are going to make me cry. It's one of our favorite. San Mateo County Outdoor Ed has a long history and tradition of high school students volunteering as cabin leaders for the residential outdoor education program. And we know that some of those students often go on and pursue careers in education or come back as naturalists at Outdoor Ed. The program depends on these dedicated students, absolutely depends on them. And this year's cabin leader of the year is Callie Smith. Callie? Come on up, Callie. And I want to invite senior naturalist Ania. Is Ania here? Would you like to come up too? And you're just you're the adult ally for Callie. So and no one is going to getting the opportunity to speak except for you, Callie, if you'd like to say something tonight about your opportunities at Outdoor Ed. You want to say something about what it's like to be a cabin leader?
I didn't prepare anything, but it was like awesome to go help the kids every week. I went back, I went there 7 times, but it was even better. Well, it was equally great to experience the culture there, and all of the staff was amazing, especially, I don't know if to refer to her by her nature name, but Caldera. I don't know.
Thank you so much.
So according to the naturalist, Callie consistently led by example with a positive, enthusiastic, and inclusive attitude with the myriad students she worked with all year. She supported the naturalists, volunteered when no one else would, and stepped out of her comfort zone to try new things. Callie set and attained goals each week, even leading hikes and lessons on her own, and took big steps in initiative such as volunteering for songs and kids or songs and skits and speaking impromptu at a big meeting like this. In the cabin, she established positive relationships with students and developed a sense of community. She regularly communicated about student needs and handled concerns appropriately. Callie is the definition of an exemplary cabin leader who inspires young students and peers alike to try their best, all while having an amazing attitude. So congratulations, Callie. We're going to move on to next honoring very closely adjacent to outdoor education is our 2023 Green Ribbon School Award winners. You know that we love environmental and climate readiness here at the county office. And first up is the Cabrillo Unified School District, who earned a silver level award. This is a national award for green schools. So we invite Superintendent Sean McFetridge to come up and accept. Superintendent McFetridge, I'm going to say a few words if that's okay. I know you're capable of saying some if you'd like. The Cabrillo Unified School District was the first district in San Mateo County to hire a part-time sustainability coordinator to help fulfill the district's goals of providing students with quality environmental education, equal opportunities to outdoor education, and living campuses that promote land stewardship and sustainability practices. In addition to using sustainability dashboards to improve facilities and operations and reduce the district's ecological footprint, the Cabrillo Unified School District has been expanding several longstanding partnerships with local businesses and community-based organizations, such as the HEAL Project, which is amazing, and Coastside Land Trust, another amazing partner, to bring more engaging environmental experiences to its students and to bring action to equity. Thank you, Superintendent McFetridge. Congratulations. We actually have two Green Achiever Awards in San Mateo County, which is also amazing, remembering that this is a federal level award. The second Green Ribbon School Award winner is Redwood High School from Sequoia Union High School District. I'm going to invite Superintendent Crystal Leach and Redwood High School Principal Stephanie Ogden and Redwood High School Vice Principal Mike Kuliga to come up. And this is really, I think, the highest possible award to win in the Green Ribbon Awards at the national level. And what's amazing is that Redwood High School is a really thriving place for students who seek and succeed in alternative settings. So it's really an incredible model set by these leaders here, especially Principal Ogden. Redwood High School has used a multi-pronged approach to become climate ready. The school was remodeled in 2018 using a sustainable and energy efficient design. And as a result, they've seen nearly a 75% reduction in outdoor water use on campus. The school's campus features a 3/4 acre organic food forest, a greenhouse, a chicken coop, compost system, an outdoor classroom to support students across disciplines, ages, and experience levels. Redwood High School also integrates environmental science into the school's core curriculum through its Redwood Environmental Academy of Leadership, called REAL, which embodies the environmental values of the school as an interdisciplinary program that integrates environmental literacy with history, culinary arts, CTE, and environmental science. And the school received a 2023 Sustainable San Mateo County Award, countywide award for its sustainability efforts as well. And I'm just so impressed and excited about what you've done. So congratulations. So next we move on to our California Distinguished Schools. Again, San Mateo County knocked it out of the park. This year, 30 San Mateo County elementary schools from 12 school districts received 2023 California Distinguished School Award from the California Department of Education for progress in supporting student success. The program honors schools that performed well on several indicators displayed on the 2022 California School Dashboard, such as suspension rate, chronic absenteeism, and student performance in English language, arts, and mathematics. The state alternates between honoring elementary schools and middle and high schools each year, with awardees holding their title for 2 years. So I guess it's every 2 years. Really fun trip and all-day celebration at Disneyland that I got to be part of, and was thrilled to be supporting all of these incredible schools. So up first, we're pleased to honor Central Elementary, Fox Elementary, and Redwood Shores Elementary from the Belmont Redwood Shores School District. Would Superintendent Dan DeGara, Assistant Superintendent Ching Pei Hu, and Fox Elementary Principal Talia Carter come up to accept. Hey, congratulations. And then you're going to take roses, and do you want to say anything, Superintendent? Good. Thank you.
Central as well.
Oh, yeah, Central. There we go. Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Belmont Redwood Shores. Next group of honorees for California Distinguished Schools is North Hillsborough Elementary, South Hillsborough Elementary, and West Hillsborough Elementary from the Hillsborough City School District. Did you bring those good pastries that we had in the airport, right? Yeah. So tonight we have North Hillsborough Elementary Principal Heidi Felt here, South Hillsborough Elementary Principal Lena Butte, and West Hillsborough Elementary Principal Heather Mata. District Board Vice President Kim Olaf is here as well, and District Board Member Dawn Geddes here as well. You guys come on up and get your roses. None of this happens without good, strong board members, right? So good, big applause for Hillsborough City on their California Distinguished Schools. Thank you. Thank you. Can we say something?
Just want to mention what an incredible school board we have. We're so lucky, and getting through everything. It's my 10th year, still a newbie, but Dawn Geddes, what you did with Hillsborough and getting us back to school is unforgettable. So thank you.
So we're excited next to honor 2 schools from Jefferson Elementary, Marjorie H. Tobias Elementary, and the California Virtual Academy, San Mateo. For Marjorie H. Tobias is Principal Karen Hong here, Administrative Assistant Kim Lee, Office Assistant Parent Serene Young, and Instructional Aide Marta Anderson, along with District Board Member Tony Tushaka. Is a board member here? No, Tony didn't make it. And so congratulations to all of you. I love your sweatshirts very much. And this is Jefferson Elementary, Marjorie H. Tobias Elementary School. Okay. And I love that you brought your whole school, your whole office team, because that's what it takes to get to this level of success. So thank you so much. Next up, we have Los Lomitas Elementary, and for Los Lomitas Elementary, No, we'll do that one. We'll send that one. Good, that's called a hot mic, I guess. So our next California Distinguished School is Los Lomitas Elementary from Los Lomitas Elementary School District. And is Assistant Principal Heather Peterson here? There you are. Come on up and accept your award. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Receiving well-deserved honors from Menlo Park City School District are Encinal Elementary, Laurel Elementary, and Oak Knoll Elementary. And in attendance tonight, come on up, Superintendent Kristen Gracia, Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services, Jamie Barrett, Laurel Elementary Principals, Linda Creighton and Alicia Hennigan. And, oh, let's see, I lost my place. And that's it. Okay, we're really happy for you. Congratulations. And Kristen and Jamie, make sure you get your roses, okay? Congratulations. I think all three of your elementary school districts were recognized in the California Distinguished Schools. Great.
Thank you.
So next door neighbor from Portola Valley School District, we want to recognize Ormondale Elementary, and we welcome Superintendent Roberta Zaray, Principal Lynette Hovland, and District Board President Kimberly Morris Rosen up to accept. Congratulations to Ormondale. And please take your roses. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you. Congratulations. Next up, I said, we have 30 schools in California Distinguished Schools. So we're making our way here. North Star Academy from the Redwood City School District. I know Superintendent John Baker's here, Principal Sarah Shackle, is Assistant Principal Kelly Noriega here, District Board President Cecilia Marquez, and District Board Member Mike Wells. So here's your Redwood City team from North Star Academy. Very good. Thank you, Superintendent Baker. Please take a rose, everybody. And remember to smell them. Okay, it's quite impressive. Again, we have San Carlos School District, and they received honors for Arundel School, White Oak School, Mariposa School, Arroyo School, Heather School, Britton Acre School, and the San Carlos Charter Learning Center. So representing the district would White Oak School Principal Leah Scholar and Mariposa School Principal Teresa Fox come forward? Yes. Are you guys willing to carry home all of them? Arundel, right? Arroyo. Yep. There we go. Okay, thank you. Congratulations. Oh, get your roses. Do you want pink? They're over here. Uh-oh, that one. Does that mean, I don't know what that means. Okay, next, celebrating two schools from the San Mateo Foster City School District, College Park Elementary and North Shore Montessori. And I think we have a big group attending tonight. So I'm going to invite Superintendent Diego Ochoa up, Communications Coordinator Diego Perez, along with them, College Park Elementary Principal Anjanette Estonina, parents Alec and Nina Agarwal, student Neil Agarwal, Parents Stephen and Jocelyn Pang. Come on up. And student Kara Pang. Is Kara here? Oh, there you are. PTA President Shauna Lowry. And probably not Laura either. Okay. FMS. Okay, they're not here. And so what about PTA President Amar D. Prasad?
Everybody just.
Come on up. Come on. If you're from San Mateo, Foster City, come forward. There we go. All right. Excellent. Wonderful representation. Please take your flowers. Thank you. Everybody gets a flower. All right. Congratulations. You should be very proud of your schools. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, and now we come to South San Francisco Unified, and for South San Francisco, we celebrate Monteverde Elementary and Burry Elementary, and we have Assistant Superintendent of Business Services Ted O and District Board Vice President Patricia Richardson. So please, Murray. I was going to say that's not right. Patricia Murray up to accept the award. So congratulations. Monteverde and Burry. Your flowers are over here. Oh, Ted. Take some greenery. Sorry about that. We got the wrong name in. So not in attendance tonight, but also honored as California Distinguished Schools are Lincoln Elementary, Franklin Elementary, Hoover Elementary, and Washington Elementary, all from Burlingame School District, and Spring Valley Elementary from the Millbrae Elementary School District. So now we get to give one rousing round of applause to all of the California Distinguished Schools.
Now we have one more special award that is my pleasure, along with Superintendent McGee, to get to present this evening. And I'm honored to say a few words about our outgoing Youth Commissioner, liaison, Seth Weinfield. Seth, would you please come up? Youth Commissioner Weinfield joined the San Mateo County Board of Education in October. And from his very first meeting, he asked insightful questions and made important contributions to discussions. I'm going to turn the page. Providing valuable insights into the youth perspective, and he truly did. We were so appreciative to have him. He was attentive and involved, consistently displayed a positive attitude and a willingness to learn, and exhibited a razor-sharp focus on issues related to special education and the environment. We appreciate that Youth Commission Liaison proudly represented the perspective of youth from around the county. Tonight, the San Mateo County Board of Education honors Youth Commission Weinfield's exceptional service and wishes him all the best in his future endeavors. Congratulations, Youth Commissioner Liaison Seth Weinfield.
Seth, we have something really special for you tonight. It's in a cardboard box because it's an empty frame. And before the night is over, it will include a joint resolution from the County Board of Ed and the County Superintendent honoring your service. So we'll be sending you home with this tonight. And then I'm going to give you the mic because your words are really special. And I think that you could say a few now, if you'd like.
Sure. Similar to my youth predecessor before me, I do not have too many words prepared. So this is going to come as I go. I am extremely grateful to the San Mateo County Board of Education for giving the opportunity and the platform for youth actually in the K through 12 system to be able to represent what K through 12 students are going through. It is truly amazing. I have always felt like an equal despite my young age in being able to speak about the issues regarding our youth in our county, and especially regarding disability and environmental advocacy. It has been a true honor and a pleasure to discuss those issues, especially when regarding testing in our county. Thank you all so much again for being such a home for me to be able to express my opinion, regardless if you agree or disagree. There was always a platform for me to speak, and I truly appreciate it. I am going to miss these Wednesday meetings, these bi-weekly or twice a month meetings every Wednesday when I am in college. But I am truly appreciative of this award, and thank you so much all again.
We are on Zoom.
In
Steph.
closing, congratulations again to all our incredible honorees this year. You are, every single one of you, absolutely amazing. And at this time, we will adjourn for a 15-minute recess and reception to celebrate the honorees. It looks like 7:55. So at 8:10, the board will resume the meeting. We also invite the honorees to meet by the backdrop for photos and then join the rest of the group in enjoying the reception. And again, thank you all so much for all you do. Okay. Item 6A, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the April 27th, 2023 Oxford Day Academy Site Visit Special Board Meeting as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion to approve the minutes of the April 27th, 2023 Oxford Day Academy Site Visit Special Board Meeting made by Mr. Cannon and a second by Mr. Torres. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion passes with a unanimous vote, and the minutes of the April 27th, 2023 Oxford Day Academy Site Visit Special Board Meeting have been approved. Item 6B, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the April 28th, 2023 Board Budget Study Session Special Board Meeting as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion to approve the minutes of the April 28th, 2023 Board Budget Study Session Special Board Meeting made by Ms. Alvaro and a second by Mr. Torres. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion passes with a unanimous vote, and the minutes of the April 28th, 2023 Board Budget Study Session Special Board Meeting have been approved. Item 6C, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the May 3rd, 2023 regular board meeting as presented?
I move to approve the minutes with the amendments that were given to the board.
Okay.
Second.
There is a motion to approve the minutes of the May 3rd, 2023 regular board meeting made by Ms. Bonini and a second by Ms. Alvaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion passes with unanimous vote, and the minutes of the May 3rd, 2023 regular board meeting have been approved. Item 7 is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is not debatable and requires a unanimous vote for passage. An item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular order of business for separate discussion and action if any member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so requests. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
There is a motion to approve the consent agenda made by Mr. Cannon and a second by Mr. Limpert. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion passes with unanimous vote, and the consent agenda has been approved. Item 8A, Sarah Kenahan, Coordinator, Child Care Partnership Council, will provide a report on the Universal Pre-Kindergarten Mixed Delivery Planning Grant Program. Before we begin, are there any comments from the public? No. Coordinator Kenahan?
Good evening, Board President Gerard, members of the board, Superintendent McGee, and Commissioner Weinfield. I'm Sarah Kinahan, the coordinator for the San Mateo County Child Care Partnership Council in the Educational Services Division. And I'm here to share with you about a new Universal Pre-Kindergarten, or UPK, Mixed Delivery Planning Grant Program that will be implemented here at the County Office of Education. I'm presenting to you tonight because Education Code requires SMCOE to develop a plan for consideration by our governing board of the County Office of Education by June 30th, 2023, in which we plan for how all 4-year-olds and an increased number of at-promise 3-year-olds will be able to access full-day learning programs before kindergarten that meet parent needs in a mixed delivery system. In my presentation, I'll be providing a short overview of the UPK Mixed Delivery Planning Grant and our proposed approach to planning, including an outline of what will be included in our UPK Mixed Delivery Plan. We are receiving a grant from the California Department of Education for around $368,000 to support the planning process. The funds are coming to us because we are home to the Child Care Partnership Council, which is the local planning council in San Mateo County. We are an advisory body to the superintendent of schools and the county board of supervisors on matters related to childcare, preschool, and after school in the county. And we have historically played a role in systems level planning due to our connections with families, early learning and care providers, and other community stakeholders. The grant from the California Department of Education requires us to convene a work group to plan for, but not directly fund, UPK options in a mixed delivery system that are aligned to quality standards as defined in Title V of Education Code that support the whole child and the whole family. So 2 key definitions related to this grant. First is, what do we mean by universal pre-kindergarten or UPK? Simply, it is full or part-day programs for 3- and 4-year-old children, early learning programs. And mixed delivery refers to a system of these early childhood education services that are provided in a variety of settings that include Head Start, public and private center-based childcare and preschool, public schools, and family childcare homes through a family childcare home education network. Education Code prescribes the required members of the planning work group, which are outlined here on this slide. In addition to local planning councils and county offices of education, we will be including school districts and charter schools that offer TK, resource and referral agencies and alternative payment programs, a representative from First 5, a variety of representatives of the mixed delivery system, educators, labor representatives, and institutions of higher education. We will be leveraging the Child Care Partnership Council to create an ad hoc committee under the council that will constitute this work group that will meet throughout the next school year and will present the final plan at the June 2024 Child Care Partnership Council meeting. Lastly, these will be the elements in our UPK mixed delivery plan. We are basing these on a template provided by the California Department of Education. We will be looking at data such as projected enrollment and other needs assessment data related to pre-kindergarten. We're fortunate that the Partnership Council completed a very detailed childcare and preschool needs assessment just last year. So we'll be using that data in our plan. And then we will have different focus areas such as establishing a county-wide vision for what a coherent mixed delivery UPK system would look like. We will be talking about strategies for community engagement and partnerships. We will be focusing on workforce recruitment and professional learning for those early educators. We'll be looking at best practices for curriculum, instruction, and assessment for our youngest learners. And lastly, we will be looking at matters related to facilities, services, and operations in the UPK programs. In addition to these elements that are prescribed through Education Code, we will also be adding our own local San Mateo County flavor. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Mr. Limpert.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your work. Just if you could just give us like a status report on how TK is going in the county. I mean, you hear a lot throughout the state just about not as many students signing up as possible. And then as part of that, how does this mixed delivery system and the work you're doing, how do you think that will impact that and help make sure more students are enrolled?
Yes, so in regard to the first question, we are seeing a slower uptake of TK. It is parental choice, so they have a variety of options for 4-year-olds between school district programs, private preschools. In our needs assessment, we used 40% uptake rate as what we considered a realistic projection over the next couple of years. And then part of the work we're going to be doing is we are subcontracting some of the grant we're receiving to our resource and referral agency, 4Cs, to better understand what parents want in this regard, and also to work with them to make sure parents know about all their options and that they know about TK and how to enroll in those programs with their district.
Are there any other questions? No? Well, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Item 9 is Office of the Superintendent. Item 9A, the board will receive the initial proposal for the San Mateo County Educators Association, SMCEA, to the San Mateo County Superintendent of Schools for 2023-2024. This item will be brought back at the June 28th, 2023 board meeting for a public hearing. Tammy Moore, Associate Superintendent, Human Resources, is available to answer any questions the board may have. Before we begin, are there any comments from the public? Superintendent Moore? Associate Superintendent Moore. Yeah, I don't see any comments. Yeah.
Questions?
That it? Okay. All right. Are there any questions from the board? Okay. Item 9B, the board will receive the employer's initial proposal from the San Mateo County Superintendent of Schools to the San Mateo County Educators Association, SMCEA, for the 2023-2024 reopener bargaining agreement. This item will be brought back at the June 28th, 2023 board meeting for a public hearing. Tammy Moore, Associate Superintendent, Human Resources, is available to answer any questions the board may have. Before we begin, are there any comments from the public? Are there any comments or questions from the board? Thank you very much. Item 9C is superintendent's comments. Superintendent McGee, do you have any comments to share?
Just a very few comments tonight. I think I had shared with the board that the legislation for AB 906 was not going to be moving forward this year and would turn into a 2-year bill. The surprise was that it actually made it into the budget. And so that's really astounding, really, and is an indication of the strength of the California County Superintendents Association staff. They're very good at what they do. And they have great relationships. And so I think it's the only new money that was reflected for education in the May revision was $80 million for our court and community schools statewide. So it's significant. For many counties, it won't result in many dollars for us. But for some counties, it's a significant amount of money. Now, the next step is to keep it in there because the legislature and the Senate, or the Assembly and the Senate, will now bring their own versions of the budget. Because it was the only new money, also those who didn't get new money are looking to where they can pull new money for their advocate for their issues and their priorities. So we've been asked to really reach out to our local legislators to make sure that they're aware of it and that they understand that it's very important to us. And so I would like to we can write a letter of advocacy on behalf of the board that Board President Gerard could sign, and we could get to the local delegation between now and the end of next week is really the time that we need to do that. Additionally, if you have relationships, in your relationships with your local delegation, if you want to talk with them about it, it would be a great time to do that. And I'm going to be reaching out to each of them just to make sure that they know that we're, just to make sure they don't have any questions. And so now we just kind of hope that it makes it all the way through the end of the budget process. I do want to acknowledge that it was a really nice event on Saturday night in Los Gatos, highlighting the organization Think Together, which is a school-wide improvement effort that's been going on for many years that I didn't really know anything about, but went to the event and was happy to be joined by Board Member Camacho and Board Member Limpert, and engaging with other regional and state leaders, a lot of folks from Santa Clara and their school board members. To do that alongside the board members was really fun, I would say, fun and also impactful to be out in that kind of setting together and having interesting conversations. And then finally, I really am sad I told Youth Commissioner Weinfield that it's not goodbye. It's just thank you for now for being such a stellar youth member of the board, serving the board. It's been great getting to know you, and I look forward to attending the Youth Commission culminating event next week, and then let Mr. Weinfield know that we're all here for him as he goes forward on his journey. Any kind of counsel, guidance, letters of recommendation. You've got 8 education leaders here that are all behind you. So thank you. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you very much. For item 10A, the board will receive information on the California County Boards of Education 2023 officer nominations. Information is being provided at this time to allow the board time to consider nominations that may be made at the next board meeting. Before we begin, are there any comments from the public? Are there any board member comments? The information was in your packet, and there is no action taken at this time, but please be thinking about it. And if you know someone that would be a great candidate, we certainly would love to hear. I'm also on the nominating committee for CCBE, so I especially would like to hear about it. Item 10B, the board will engage in a first reading of all updated board policies. No action is required. These will come back to the board at its June 14th, 2023 meeting for a second reading and potential action. Before we begin, are there any comments from the public? At this time, I request that board members share the policies they would like to have addressed during the meeting. The board will then proceed through each of the policy series, sequentially addressing the items raised.
Board President Gerard, we missed in the script, but I'm going to do just a little introduction for the process.
Okay.
And I could do that now and then we can move. but
Okay,
we
that's fine.
We missed that in the script. So you ready for me? And this is very brief. but especially for those members of the public that are listening in and haven't been kind of tracking all how this happened. This introduction provides some historical perspective as well as how we're going to try and conduct the process tonight. So how we got here, which is a really good place that we find ourselves in tonight. The last really systematic, broad, like year-long review of board policies happened back sometime in 2016, 2017. I think around 2020, 21, the superintendent expressed a need for a complete overhaul of our administrative regulations, some of which had not been updated since the early 2000s. And it was really hampering our administration and management efforts inside the office. And so we suggested that we do a complete overhaul of the administrative regulations and consider developing in that process superintendent policies in parallel with the board policies. And then the board policy subcommittee formed in early 2022 and carried over into 2023. But they began their work. You began your work in early 2022 and have been working hard for more than a year. And then the board policy subcommittee and the superintendent shared a mutual interest in moving policies into the digital format with search functions and greater access for all stakeholders, which brought us to a consideration of investing in the plan that CSBA offers called Gamut Policy Plus. And this platform is an online policy management system, which is what was the desired format for board policies moving forward. There's a dedicated Gamut webpage, which will have all the, once this process completes, all these board policies will be uploaded to that page, and then it will be integrated into the County Office of Education website. The Gamut Policy Plus platform includes advanced global search, includes ongoing policy consulting. So the CSBA legal team will continue to provide support as you continue to review and update your policies over all the years ahead, as long as we're a subscriber to Gamut Policy Plus. And then the really great aspect to me is the quarterly updates. So 4 times a year, you'll get a kind of a global policy update in your board packets. So 4 times a year, you will go ahead and update policies that have been impacted by changing legislation or changing conditions. And so that's a great mechanism to keep policies current. So in order to do this, to get to the Gamut policy platform, it's required that the office set aside time and resources to participate in a policy development workshop, which happened here on March 14th, 15th, and 16th. I kind of on the slide listed I think I got everybody's name there that was part of that day, those 3 days of work. The list on the right kind of shares a little bit of how overwhelming it felt when we started with, I don't know how many, 900 policies to review. And yet we broke up into groups, and each group took a set of a series of policies, and we kind of got into a groove and really went through it. And I would say it was an exceptional professional development opportunity for our team in the county office. We learned so much and really got a much needed refresh of engagement with all of the policies across the board. The windy trees are because it was that day, I think, either the 14th or the 15th, where it was we had basically a wind tsunami here in San Mateo County, and the trees were coming down on the building and people were having to move their cards. It was memorable, but everybody came out of it okay with no cars were harmed during our board policy workshop. So tonight, as far as the review process, the way CSBA has instructed us to kind of approach this, and what I would pass on to you is that this is called the global adoption. So you will be adopting on June 14th in the second reading, hundreds of policies all at one time. And there's no expectation that every single detail or every single typo or every single thing is going to be necessarily accurate or caught. But I think we're doing a really good job of combing through it. So the board will adopt the entire board policy handbook at one time on June 14th. What I also think it's important that you know as you read these is that every single policy or every single regulation or every single exhibit is the most up-to-date current language from CSBA. So you can feel confident that you're looking at the most current of language. And then the goal is that to adopt the policy package in order for CSBA then to upload all the policies onto the digital platform. And that should happen. That will probably take a month or two once you've done your final adoption. But once you get to that month or two and this is live on the website, then you just resume engaging with your policies the same way you were before. The only difference is that now they're digital. You can actually, staff can actually edit and upload right on the platform itself. And then you get the quarterly updates, like I said. So there's 4 categories of documents involved in this review. And there's your board policies, which you're very familiar with. What's new for San Mateo County office is that we're identifying what would be superintendent policies. And then the administrative regulations, CSBA uses the language of Office of Education Regulation. So it's not an AR, but an OER if we want to use letters, but it's basically an office regulation, which is about the administration or the doing of the policy. And then an exhibit is a form. So if there's a form for an interdistrict transfer appeal, it would come in as an exhibit. And then also, I think it's important to know that when these policies are updated on the platform, they will show exactly as they're showing in the table of contents. And we made a table of contents for you of the clean policies for each page of series. And that should help you track the conversation, because page 1 is all the 0 series and page 2 is the 1000s and page 3 is the 2000s, et cetera. But you can see that it's the policies aren't separated, they're integrated. So one policy might be a board policy, the next thing might be an Office of Education Regulation, then you might have a board policy, then a superintendent policy. So they're all in chronological order, integrated together in one place. So they're not in 2 places. So tonight, what we're calling the correction table, you also have that as a printed out, a hard copy on your desk. And then we also sent that to you with a Google link this afternoon. And that correction table is how we tracked where we noticed that maybe a change that we intended to be in the policy didn't make it into the draft. So that would be something we would want to correct. And then the other way we use the correction table is, are there questions about whether a policy should be one thing or another, or use one kind of language or another? And between all the time we've been working on this and now, we have yet to come to consensus. So that could be a space for discussion tonight. But in the correction table, most of those questions have already been reviewed by the policy subcommittee and then reviewed again by staff. And the furthest over column kind of says what the consensus is. And in most cases, we all kind of ended up agreeing on the ultimate action. So it appears that in that correction table, there's very few items that really aren't already sort of answered. And then it's true for all board meetings, but we record these board meetings. So everything that you're saying will be on the recording. And if we need to go back and listen to the recording to make sure we got the discussion correct or the action correct, we have that as a backup if, because there may be a lot to take notes about, and just to ensure that nobody misses anything, we have the recording as a backup. And then finally, these policies will come back for second reading on June 14th. And then I think it's important to feel really good about this. This is a huge accomplishment and no small feat, first of all, and no small matter going forward. I know that for our staff and our team, we're actually absolutely thrilled that that we've gotten to this point, because all of those Office of Education regulations, we can now build policy and help make processes for our staff that make sense and communicate things and do things in an efficient way. So it really helps our work tremendously and is very transparent for all of our staff and our teachers about where things stand. Like I said, many of those regulations prior to this work were 1987, 1990, 2010, so that really things that you would question, is this really still the way to do things? So we're just really very happy about this. And I think the board policy subcommittee knows very well how many hours of hard work they've put into this. And so there should be a sense of happiness and joy that, we've gotten to this point. I know we still have a little bit more to do, but we're almost there. So congratulations, I'll say in advance. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the process that we'll do tonight. But I think we're going to take each series one at a time. So we'll start with the zeros. Any questions?
Ms. Alvaro.
Thank you. Thank you for that little summary. I think that was helpful. I just had a question, just a generic question here about the updates. I know in July, we're expecting a slug of them to come down from CSBA. Will those all come to the board, or will they come to the subcommittee for review? Because the reason I'm asking is that as we went through all the policies, because it's CSBA and we are not a local school board, there were a number of things we found that just didn't apply to us. And we either said, no, that absolutely doesn't apply to us, or it applies to us, but we have to make some changes here because it refers to things that aren't correct. So my question is, as we get that slug quarterly, are we planning on running them through the subcommittee to just basically take out the big weeds, or just have all of them come to the board?
I don't have an answer for that process, but I definitely hear what you're saying. And I think we should have some sort of review. Not all of the policies obviously are going to be policies that we have. So that's one thing we can do that quick, do the numbers match? And is this something that would be relevant to the county board or the county office? you could certainly, you'll have the whole packet, but we can already go ahead and like name for you which ones probably don't apply. And then that kind of narrows the work a little bit. So I think we'll need to do some work together to figure out what that process will look like, because we're not really sure how other county offices are doing that. The way CSBA talks about it is it's more like a global adoption, again, 4 times a year, and they just kind of because these
Yes.
policies automatically get like uploaded. And we'll have to, if we're going to change things, then we have to go back in and change them, which we can do. But
Yeah,
CSBA will
I
go
know they'll
ahead.
do a global upload. My concern is that as we saw, as we went through the whole process, they're global. Some of it doesn't have anything to do with us. Or
Right.
some of it's completely antithetical to the way we have to work
Mhm.
because we are a county.
Yes.
So I know they want to do a global update, and we're happy to have them do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of this is the new legal requirement. That's wonderful.
Mhm.
But I think there need to be some eyes on it before there's this big update to say,
Right.
does this apply to us generally? And is it specifically? And I think council wants to
Absolutely,
do the same.
trustee, we would, a couple things I'd say. One is that absolutely makes sense that we would need to be vigilant to that. We could certainly work in collaboration with the board and with the superintendent to ensure that we have a good, process in place. And we can certainly inquire with of our colleague attorneys in other, counties to understand, what
Yes.
they do to address those concerns, because it's a concern probably for many county boards of education. So we can certainly identify best practice so that we're ensuring that what we put in front of you has been sort of winnowed appropriately.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Bonini.
I just wanted to tag on a little bit to what trustee Alvaro said, and then just make a general comment / question. It's true that when we started the process and we had all of the policies, they were by and large not for us.
Mhm.
And I personally think that they could have been culled better by CSBA because we literally, not we, but the whole team had to go through and change everything that referenced, unless it was a very specific county board or county superintendent type policy, it was a lot of changing. So then if you were to just do a global adoption, those changes wouldn't be there. So I just, wanted to echo that and understand that process too, because it's definitely going to be an issue. It's kind of makes me a little sad because I feel like we had this dream, oh, it's going to be great. We're going to get everything there. And then it'll just update. That's not really how I think it's going to happen. So
I agree with you. I do think CSBA is making an effort to improve their county office
yeah,
branch, if you will. And they have more county offices in Gamut now than they have before. So I think that the need is going to drive that. But if we give them feedback, it would be hire someone just to be eyes on county office and do that for us.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that we could be like a model for like, these are things that are really just county office. Okay,
Mhm.
start here and maybe look at the rest later. But anyway, that's not our job. And then my other comment, and I wanted to make, and it's kind of maybe a question too, and I sent it in advance, but we made our own chart of all the policies. And then I went through and tried to match up the former policies before we started anything with the current CSBA versions. And in a number of instances, we were able to match them up, but they have new numbers. Sometimes we match them sort of. Ours was like 2 policies, so it doesn't match perfectly. Or we had one that they don't have, right, in one instance or something. And so my question at the workshop was, for us, I really like having the history noted in the policy to come in as a new trustee and to see, oh, this policy originated in some form in 1990. That's really helpful to know. if it can be matched. And so we've done some of that work. I asked CSBA and they said, well, you can put anything you want into the body of the policy, right? And then the drafts, the other thing I want to say, the drafts that we have do not have all of the legal references in them. And so what I envision, it'll be the legal references will also be there. And then for the ones that we can, we'll put in the history that we know.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that that's still okay to
We,
do.
we will make that happen.
So
I mean,
it'll be another process and I don't expect it to be there right away, but I do think that it's important. So I was hoping.
and
that
I
we could
think
do it.
we have staff in our office that can also work on that to make sure that we're catching everything that we can. Honestly, the existing board policy document there, that's not like so giant that it's, you know, it's overwhelming. And those all have the history in them. So I think we can go through every existing policy and pull the histories out. I think you've already maybe done that, but we can
just-
double check it.
Yeah, I've just matched them up and I gave you a link to that document. So I know it's going to happen later, hopefully, but the question was. can it
But
be-
I would hope that, and I'm not sure about this, but I would hope that when the documents come back to you for the second reading, that it would have the legal citation. I don't know when they put those in. But maybe they keep them out just because I don't really know. I honestly don't.
Yeah, candidly, I don't know for sure. I mean, every single CSBA policy, it includes sort of a very long list oftentimes of all the various, and links, by the way, to the various legal citations. So maybe it's just for ease of review. It does kind of clutter things up if you've got all that stuff in there. So I'm guessing that it's probably for that reason.
They don't actually have links because they can't get an agreement with Westlaw or Lexis. to
Oh,
give
is that
the
right?
links. Yeah.
Okay,
So. just-
well, take it back.
They want to have links. But they're there. And that's all I have for comments. And
Are there any other questions right now? Mr. Cannon?
So Nancy and committee members, great thanks, because I know from following your work from a distance, how much effort has been. And I'm delighted to hear that you're pleased that you're able to do more things better. Is that fair enough with these policies? Anytime, so what I'm getting to is, I don't know what those are. So any examples that you would have for your enthusiasm, I'd be delighted to hear specifically, like you said, we're able to do some procedures in the office better now than we were before. So any examples to make that clearer for me would be a great help.
Well, I have the team over here and they have microphones at the table. And I told them they're going to be talking a lot tonight because they have the expertise. And I think as we go through, we can give you some examples right now.
Well, that'd be great, or as we move along.
But I know we'll be giving you plenty of examples if we're talking through different policies. But does anybody want to speak to examples of why this is so good for us?
I'll just point out travel and conferences. The prior language when I got here was substantially older. I almost think it goes back to the 90s. We had a group that got together and we talked about revising administrative regulation, which we did. The problem, however, is that it took time to do that collaboration and we didn't have a source document, a legal basis for those conversations. They were kind of what worked for us. So we could see that process of putting in administrative regulations or updating the administrative regulations was going to take quite a bit of time. So by going to these policies, it immediately attaches and it also points out the legal basis for that. So from my standpoint, we now have a clean baseline, a foundation in which we can communicate how we're going to do business and hold each other accountable to how we're going to do business. So that's just one related to travel and conferences.
So if I might follow up, so Kevin, what would be some language or what would be some process that you're referring to with that? Dates, money, who can go?
All of that. So what was nice, I think, about this process is that work that we did on that administrative regulation, we were able to incorporate in this update. So not only now do we have the legal basis, but we have our own input and administrative regulation which to move forward from. But it does spell out how much we're going to reimburse, any prior approvals that we need to acquire. So it puts all of how we need to implement the policy in a written format that can be shared easily across the organization.
Great. That's just what I wanted to hear.
And I think Chris has one more example.
I do. So I'll go student route. A couple of the things, and we had some board policies, but I think what this allows for is consistency across all of our school programs. So you'll see pieces in here that we may have spoken to in other policies, but these are much more cleaner in terms of absences and excuses. How are we putting those into student records? How do we treat non-custodial parents? So even though there's been history of practices here and things that people have followed, they haven't actually been documented in terms of really following those pieces and making sure that we're on the same page and implementing them correct. So for me, looking at it from a schools person as well, it allows the staff as well as our site administration to know, what do I do when I'm in this situation? And allows us to go back to that language and say, here's where we're at with non-custodial parents, or these are the rights that are given. So for me, it's the depth of the amount of policy that we now have that helps guide the work of the school programs. I think it's incredible.
Very helpful examples. Thank you.
Are there any other questions at this time?
Hey,
Oh.
let's go.
Okay.
So I think what we want to do is everybody wants to have either this correction table in front of them or on their desktop, their laptop. And then if you have the table of contents, it just simply shows you the list of titles and numbers, but it's easy to track by section. And so I think we only have 1000 policy here. Oh, no, that's not true. There's, in fact, this whole front page here is 0 policies that start with 0. But is there anybody, any board member who has additional questions or concerns or wants to discuss an additional 0 policy that's not on the correction table?
Ms. Bonini?
I don't have one. I just wanted to make sure we were all clear that there were things submitted in advance. And then now you're just checking which ones are additional, right? Not talking about them in depth.
Well,
Make sure
I
we're on the
mean,
same-
this shows that this is where we were as far as corrections. Again, many of these have already been corrected, so we can kind of look at them and just check them off really quickly, make sure.
Yeah, I mean, your process is you're going to see if there are any other ones that anyone wants to pull by section.
In the zeros,
And-
right?
Right, and then go through them.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
So when you look at the table of contents and you look at all the zeros, which is philosophy, goals, objectives, and comprehensive plans. And then you can compare what's already on the correction document. Is there anything else that we're missing? One thing we could do is go through the correction document just to get started and warmed up a little bit. And then I think conversation will flow. Okay. So for 000, it was a county board policy under vision. And originally the working group changed this to a superintendent policy. When you read through the policy itself, it's a lot about things that the county superintendent and the county office do as in actions. So that was sort of the guiding point for why to make it a superintendent policy. The policy subcommittee came back and provided feedback that they would like to keep it as a board policy and then change the opening sentence to include both the county superintendent of schools and the county board of education, which would say county superintendent of schools and the county board of education believe that a clearly stated purpose and direction for the county office provides the foundation for continuous improvement and accountability. And what we found is that in this section, a lot of those first sentences are about belief. And that I think that we probably all believe these things and that both entities should be in that sentence. And so then we also agreed that it would stay as a board policy and that we would adjust the opening sentence And that was the question about it. So if there's other questions, now would be the time to kind of talk about it.
Ms. Bonini?
I just wanted to share, it says it here, but that I think that just as an overarching way of going through this, the policy committee wanted to be respectful of the process. And also there were certain instances, you'll see a couple others where there was a desire for some things to change to superintendent policy. So as it's reflected here, we said, and this is an example for going forward, we said, well, that's okay, I guess, but we feel like we should have that policy too. We didn't feel like we wanted to impose necessarily in every instance or in many instances to say, we really just want it to be a board policy because unless we have a really good reason. We proposed a parallel policy, which is what you see in the draft. That's why you see two. And then it was returned as a comment from superintendents or from the county office to say, well, okay, well, we agreed to the other option to make it be one policy and be a board policy.
And in some cases, we do say that we want both board and superintendent policy, and we had some reasons for that. But in this one, we felt confident in making this a board policy and putting the two, which was what was expressed as the preference for the committee. And so that was fine. So in this case, the first correction would be that superintendent policy 0000 vision would be deleted. And that the first sentence would change. So the next policy under the zeros that was a question to look at was the equity policy. And it's 0415. And again, I think we had it as we had it as a superintendent policy. The policy committee came back wanting to make this a board policy or have two separate ones. And we again agreed that it could be a board policy. It makes better sense for us all to be on the same page with that. We have our strategic plan and are doing a lot of equity work, and a lot of our equity documents will be more like sort of regulations or how do you go about achieving equity. So that's kind of the action steps. So again, the superintendent policy for equity would be removed and it would be changed to a board policy.
Can I just ask if there's consensus? Do we have to go through each of those? Just go to
We don't
resolution
have
issue?
to. I'm just kind of maybe using those few as an example of
Yeah.
kind of the process and how we thought
And
about
just
it.
as a note, we've just spent more time than we have on all the other policy reviews in the past. So
Yeah.
you just move it along. It'd be my suggestion, but if others don't want to do that, that's fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's up to you guys. If you want to just go to the ones where there wasn't consensus in the fall, or notes in the last column there.
Well, and certainly as a legal matter, you could do it by exception if you just wanted to move to the things you actually had issues with, relative to the correction document that you're looking at. As long as it's clear for the record that, if you're not speaking to it, it's agreed.
So given that, we can go to the county charter schools piece, and we didn't really get into the charter school reviews. We left that to the policy committee, and I think you've had counsel helping you with that. So I don't know where you're at with those.
We didn't have any problems with them. We modified them, if anybody.
You didn't have any modifications?
We didn't raise them for discussion. That was there.
Okay, so that one's good to go then, 0420.41.
Yes.
Okay. The next one that didn't have a conclusion was board policy 0460 for LCAP.
The one before has some language that I was concerned about. Yeah,
Oh,
and I just wanted to ask if it was addressed.
it was, I talked to Dr. Young and that got deleted by accident on our end, so we need to keep it. We keep it as a board policy.
Oh, well, it's a board policy, but there's a statement in there that talks about our board approving the local special education local plan.
Yeah,
We do not do.
Right, we'll go in and change that because
Okay.
this is written for districts. So a few of those things got
Yeah, I just wanted to
slipped
make
through the cracks, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So the next one would be board policy 0460, which is LCAP. And it seemed like there was a feeling that there was deleted paragraphs, but we went back and compared them and we didn't see any deletions
I was looking at the reg,
at
the same number, but the reg when I was
I
last
see.
night looking. at
Okay,
it.
so we're good there.
Yes,
Because we just said we don't think they were deleted. And we will remove the language of COE LCAP and just keep LCAP for the consistency.
Yeah.
Was another comment.
I think that comes up in other policies or whatever, maybe in the reg too.
And
It
I
is in the
think
reg too, 'cause I was looking at it.
that consistency piece is going to be a process.
It will, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're okay on that one. And then the last one on this page was
Fine.
two suggestions about language. One was adding County Board of Education to the opening sentence, which we looked at and looked fine. And removing personnel on the third line also seemed fine, if that's the will of the subcommittee.
Well, it seemed like it would have been consistent. with-
Inconsistent with duties, yeah. Okay, so moving right along. We're on the second page. You want me to keep going, Bev, or
Pardon me?
do you want me to keep going this way? Okay. If we're only looking here at consensus on the right, we're at 1,000 now. So if you're looking at your board policy manual, you would turn over your table of contents to the 1,000s. And we believe that, let's see, this policy is based on school district boards and processes. The actions described are leadership and job functions of the county superintendent. So we either recommend keeping this one as a superintendent policy or delete it altogether. It doesn't currently exist as a board policy for the county board. It's not one of your existing policies. And if you want, I can pull up some language for that if it's helpful. But this one was being suggested, would this be a board policy? And it says that this is really about the function of partnership and community relations out of the superintendent. And so I think you'd have to look at the policy to really decide how you feel about it, but it's not very long. I can read it. Or maybe the policy committee wants to speak to it a bit.
I'm trying to pull it up. I would, I would say that generally the first policy in each series is an overarching policy that reflects sort of our goal, our vision, their vision policies. And so I would just maybe, there are aspects of it that I believe are our shared vision.
Mhm.
And so, you know, I'm fully in agreement that certain things are superintendent policies, but I just also want to remind the board that as soon as we say bless it as a superintendent policy. We'd either have to have our separate policy. We don't have any ability to change it at that point. But I do think for these vision ones, it's similar to the 0000. I feel like it's a shared vision. That's why I proposed it. It wasn't a committee, it was me.
This one felt more action-based. And we can also go forward with this as a superintendent policy, and you can mark it to come back and perhaps add it as a board policy separately, but it's the county superintendent desires to represent the community and provide leadership in addressing community issues related to education in order to identify community concerns and enlist support for the schools. The county superintendent shall establish effective two-way communication systems between schools and the community. So it just feels very specific, and it goes on. There's more.
Ms. Gerard,
Ms.
if
Alvaro?
I may, I would advocate that on this one, we let it be either be a superintendent policy, or as we said earlier in the language, just delete it completely. And that we have a short list of things that we found, and there's another one down below. I could see that there's a message from Deputy Superintendent Baltimore about real property, that these are things we should come back to after the whole thing is globally adopted, come back and say, okay, now, do we want to write a particular set of paragraphs around this particular issue and put it in as a board policy? But for now, let it be, and either be a superintendent policy or delete it, whichever. I have absolutely no opinion on that particular one.
Well, I say I'm going to just put a question mark there for now. I would advocate for it to be a superintendent policy, or we delete it. And then the board can go back and look at it later, as you said. Maybe that's the way to go about it.
Yeah. I would do that.
Then the next piece on would be that doesn't have consensus is now we're into the 3000s. And it's 3280 sale or lease of county office owned real property. And I'm going to turn this over to Deputy Superintendent Baltimore to talk through this one, because we really did consider this, and he has some good points to make that would potentially involve an additional policy.
Well, if you look at 3280 titled sale or lease of county office owned property, I think what the language that was missing was related to if we acquired property, how would we basically record that? And some other county offices of ed have interjected or put a couple sentences in regards to that in this. But I just think it's a little misleading if you look at sale or lease, that you would see acquisition or language around how you might record that. And if you look further, there's a administrative reg 3400 listed as management of county office assets or accounts. And we don't have an actual board policy example here. So in my opinion, it might be more appropriate to actually have a board policy 3400, where we're very specific about the acquisition of real assets and specifically how we would record that jointly between the board and the county superintendent. So that's my kind of initial recommendation administratively.
Ms. Benini?
Is that the normal practice? I don't know anything about that. To record it jointly.
To record a ownership jointly, I think it's mandated by law in this
yeah.
particular instance. So it is the
Required.
standard process. And actually, it would be very unusual to have an AR floating around without a corresponding BP. In fact, that's be confusing to most folks. Those of us who research these kinds of things were expecting to see a BP. And frankly, we're not likely to look at acquisition of real property when we're sale or lease of county-owned real property when we're looking for guidance with respect to acquisitions. So I think the administration's suggestion here makes really good sense.
Ms. Alvaro?
Thank you for that. I think you're exactly right on the money. What I would advocate on this one again is a similar thing, which is to go ahead and adopt the 3280 with the changes that you've already made, Deputy Superintendent Baltimore, with your team, and add to our short list of things that we need to jump on after these are all adopted, is writing something in, along with you, writing something that matches 3,400 so that we have something there. So that's my suggestion, is we go ahead and adopt this one, and then we work on another one that we add in later on.
This is a county board policy as it stands, I think, and that's how it would stay. And the question really was about adding the concept of acquisition. And so that would go into a new board policy
That would
3,400.
probably be 3,400 to
Right.
match the AR that we
Yeah,
already.
so
have.
we won't add the language, but we'll keep it as a board policy. Okay. All right, so that takes us to the next page, and the very bottom is am I right about that? Let's see.
Yeah.
And this one came up through county attorney's office. I think we all missed it, but there was an existing board policy, or there is an existing board policy 5283, which is not in the CSBA set. And that was passed by the board in 2018 about response to immigration enforcement. And CSBA has an updated board policy numbered differently.
Yeah.
So what the suggestion from the county attorney's office was to retire board policy 5283, which is your current immigration enforcement policy, and add board policy 5145.13, which is the most current board policy language for immigration enforcement.
Ms. Panini?
I've looked at that and matched them up, but it's not in our drafts, right?
It's not in our draft, so this would have to be added. We just, this surfaced
later.
today, actually.
No, it was raised earlier.
No, I mean, it got passed on to us today. And so we added it into the table as a note to add this one. That's why it says add board policy 5145.
And just so I'm clear, would the action be to, as in terms of a reading or second reading, keep 5283 until, or is the idea to just switch out effectively? I know.
I think it's switch out,
Right.
5283s would go away
Got it.
and 5145 would come in.
Got it.
And its history would get reflected in the footer.
And its history would
Yes.
get recorded. Okay, and then we're on the very last page. I feel like I missed some things.
They were resolved, I think.
I do think, yeah, did we? I'm gonna go back to the 3000s because there were two that I think we missed there.
I think we hit anything that didn't have an agree next to it.
Yeah, so if we go to 3312 contracts.
It's not on my.
It's
There it is.
We
on the third page, I think.
Yeah.
we agreed to make it a superintendent.
Superintendent policy. Okay.
Yeah, I think we all.
Okay,
agree.
so that's good. So agree, just missed that in that column. And then as far as the discussion about consultants and the tying things to the merit rules, we do that as we're required to do that. So that already happens. So there was some redundancy in the language there.
We modified the language when we were editing it. Can we ask? Kevin?
Yes, I remember we added a language that noted that we are a merit organization, merit system organization, that we would comply with the merit rules as it relates to classified positions. And you'll have to correct me. There was additional language. I didn't see if it got into clear. That was under kind of a blue that came out of the subcommittee.
I think it was an extra sentence that kind of said the same thing. So I think it just needed to be reduced to one.
Yeah, there were statements in, I think it was the contracts or the consultants where it referenced the conflict of interest topic. And I think we left that.
I believe we did. And then related to conflict of interest for employees, we added that additional policy in the 2000s that included the things we talked about previously of maintaining all the Form 700s here, providing annual training for staff. So it sits out separately related to conflict of interest. Specifically, we have the employees in the 2000s, and then we have the board's conflict of interest remaining in the 9000s. The only other piece that wasn't mentioned under the 3600 consultants is the addition of an attestation form. It's included as the exhibit. It matches what San Mateo County implemented related to their process, that they also have this attestation. So we've added that as part of the 3600 as well.
Okay, so then I think we are on the last page. Right?
The only one that looks like we don't have a consensus at the end of it is 6144.
Yeah, that's the last page. So that would be the next one to address here. Do you want to say that in 6141 under curriculum development and evaluation, we cleaned up that really well. Chris Schaus did a really good job of writing how that happens in a county office of ed, because in a district, you have individual schools and they do their own individual adoptions. In the county office, you're doing basically one adoption, one sort of general adoption across the program. So it's much different. So she cleaned up that language for 6141, but it's a board policy. And then 6144, the working group recommended this as a superintendent policy.
I actually did. I was reviewing it last night and it doesn't reference the county board at all.
Yeah. So, is that your question? Should
Well,
it?
My thought is that it should be, then it wouldn't be for us to approve it, but I
That
don't
it
know.
should be a superintendent policy.
That was my recommendation.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought.
If you want it.
So yes, are you saying you want, like in the opening, I don't know what the opening sentence is there, but
It doesn't actually reference the board at all. I don't.
So it would just be a question of captioning it BP rather than SP, since it appears to really just bear on the work of the county office. As
no,
opposed to-
yeah, it would be a superintendent policy. I think
Superintendent.
we're agreeing on that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's all. I think it.
And may
unless
not
you
even
have any-
require any further editing aside from the captioning.
No.
That wasn't my.
Okay, then we're okay there. And then at the last minutes and recordings for board policy 9324, we already moved to posting our Zoom recordings on our YouTube channel. So board member Benini just suggests that the policy language should match our actions. So to update that, to say that we can do that, or that, that we can do that for the recording. So we'll update that language to match what's currently happening. And so that kind of completes the areas in which there were questions or clarifications needed, which I said is pretty amazing.
This was extremely helpful, by the way,
Yeah.
when you sent this out, because this had a summary of the things we had questions about, how they were discussed, how they were resolved, and if anything was pending. And so thank you for this. This was really helpful.
Yeah, it helped us too. And I think it can maybe be a tool we use going forward as we review quarterly packets.
Are there any other questions or policies that the board would like to discuss at this time?
So, Madam President, I just wanted to clarify for the record then, given the work that's everything that wasn't discussed, and everything that was discussed, frankly, was the subject of a first reading. Then we've highlighted and discussed the specific things with the help of this pretty amazing table. We've discussed everything that was at issue, and as reflected in the conversation, all matters have been through a first reading. I just wanted to clarify that's what has transpired.
Okay.
I did see some typos and things that I think we can correct that don't change anything.
Any non-substantive
Yeah.
changes like that are fine between the first and the second reading.
Okay, Ms. Benini.
I just wanted to say that, so a question, when it comes back for the second reading, even though it's an integrated document, we're just approving the board policies.
Yeah, I mean, there was a discussion about how would we initially do that split. And I think we should keep everything together, integrated, and the board should approve the policy transition and the policy changes. And that you're also acknowledging that you're retiring old policies and globally adopting these in their current format. And then going forward, we'll have to work out our processes. But if we have substantive changes to the superintendent policies that were being made, we'd bring them to the board for discussion, not for action. And everybody would see what those changes were in the quarterly, especially in the quarterly updates. But if we had any other things that we were adding, we would put it into the board packet.
I just have one more thing.
Ms. Benini.
And just lastly, not to belabor, but although it's been half an hour, that's pretty good for going through all the policies. I just wanted to thank everyone, but the committee, and really thank County Attorney's Office for helping, and specifically Gina Beltramo for meeting with the policy committee multiple times. And we were really, like, the timeline kept getting squished and whatever. So she was editing things on Friday nights, and well, we all were. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, if there are no other questions or comments, I think this concludes the first reading of all updated board policies, which, yay, we did it under the wire. So that's great. Item 10C is board members will comment, and I'm going to start with Ms. Alvaro.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, I'm just going to refer to the policy subcommittee, and Ms. Panini has thanked us a number of times, but we really need to thank Chelsea, because there was a lot of heavy lifting, sitting down and making the chart of what our policies were, what CSBA's policy were, how the numbers matched, she did all that and gave it to us, and then we hammered on it. But thank you so much for all that work. That we wouldn't have made it through if you hadn't done that. And then I just want to acknowledge all of our award winners and volunteers tonight. It's always wonderful to see all the people who help make the machine run. And just to say thank you to Seth. Thank you for your input. Thank you for speaking out, volunteering to be on a subcommittee and actually having some real hands-on input to it. And I'm not sure Emory knows what they're in for, but they're going to find out. And we're here. So as Superintendent McGee said, if you need advice or references, or, it's been really great having you this past year. And thank you for everything.
Mr. Weinfield.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I said a number of my significant remarks earlier and thanking you all so much, but I would love to reiterate them again. Thank you all so much to the board. This is my last meeting. Unfortunately, I've been so grateful for the opportunity to speak out on, I guess I like to call it the K through 12 perspective on K through 12 issues. So I've been so grateful for that, especially on disability and environmental policy. There have been so many presentations, so many substantive presentations that have stood out over the period of 8 months that I've been the youth liaison to the board, that really impacted me. And I talked to students at my school and students on youth commission and just students in the district in totality, and really it was an amazing opportunity to gather input, get closer to students in my district to truly represent what the K through 12 perspective is. And I'm eternally grateful for that. I will absolutely come back and visit when I'm on a break from college. I hope a board meeting corresponds with when I'm back. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I bet I can make it work. And thank you all so much again, and have a great night.
Mr. Limpert.
I just want to salute Seth, our student representative, and we will definitely stay in touch. For Member Camacho and I were just talking, Ali Jan, who a number of you remember from a few years ago, was one of the featured speakers at a Children Now event last night in Los Angeles. So we'll see you in a few years then, and then I'll look forward to voting for you for something a few years after that. So good luck, and really enjoyed having you here.
Mr. Torres.
Congratulations to everyone that was recognized tonight. Commissioner Weinfield, I wish we had more time to work together, but you've been amazing from what I've seen and what I've heard. Anything that you need, just let us know. A huge thank you to the subcommittee. The reading part was the easiest part, so I'm glad that's all we had to do. So great job.
Mr. Cannon.
Seth, to pile on, congratulations. Thank you. Great job. Best wishes for the future. Nancy and Bev, terrific job honoring so many terrific people tonight. Thank you for all your effort and carrying it off so very, very nicely. Susan, thank you for your comments about Chelsea. That was great to hear that perspective and to give credit to our own. So thanks for that. And all three of you on the committee, gee, very grateful for all that work. Tremendous task. Terrific. Thank you.
Mr. Camacho.
I would echo all of my the comments that just came, particularly around volunteer recognition, around Chair Bonini and her work. Having done that role a while ago, that was it's a lot to keep coordinated in your head and on paper. So thank you for your leadership in that, and to the County Attorney's Office for your support. And of course, to Superintendent McGee and the staff that spent a lot of time on this, especially in negotiations with CSBA. So thank you. Commissioner Weinfeld, it's been a pleasure serving alongside you. I appreciate all of your comments that you bring, now being out of schools myself, hearing that perspective is so welcome. Hearing what you're hearing on the ground is such an important part of everything we do. So thank you for representing the youth so well.
Ms. Benini.
Thank you. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat tonight. Seth, thank you so much for the time you spent here working with us. And I think I've probably mentioned this 100 times, but you know, Seth has also been working on commissions that I'm on. And so it's just a pleasure to work with you. And I wish you all the best in your new school in Emory, right? So yes, so that's just amazing. I also wanted to say congratulations to Hugo. We all signed a card so everyone knows that he's graduating on Saturday, right? With his master's degree. He didn't mention it, but what is your master's degree in?
A master's degree in nonprofit administration.
Wonderful. So congratulations, and I hope that it's a wonderful ceremony. And then I just wanted to, as part of my comments, address the conversation that we had at our last meeting around the Gateway Learning Series and my giving of notice, which I amended the minutes to include, you know, that I was giving notice to make a motion at this meeting around the closing date being rescinded. I am not going to make that motion because I feel that the process is underway and, you know, I've reflected on it and I feel that there, you know, was some merit to the, you know, debate back and forth, but what I would prefer and what I think is the long-term, you know, mission for all of this is that we are working in a collaborative manner to try to figure out, you know, what those next steps are. As it was stated, if there is something that comes forth through the current process that indicates that there won't be a closure, I assume we'll hear about that. But what I would like to request, and just maybe for further discussion with the board at some other time, is that we be involved earlier, right? I know that the sessions are halfway through. So, you know, it would be nice to kind of hear them, to understand, because at the end of the day, you know, it is our school as a board, it is under our authority. And I feel that it's really important that we be given a chance to understand, you know, in our role of evaluating the effectiveness and all of the things that we are charged with, it's just kind of being brought to us and that it's not effective, we need to change. And so I do feel that there are some pieces missing in between there, and I look forward to those future conversations and preparing us for that, and also preparing us for the next steps of engaging with stakeholders. So with that, I'm done.
Thank you. Well, I do have a few comments tonight, which a lot of times I don't have so much, but tonight I do. And I'll start with Seth and kind of echo the whole board. Clearly, we have been very grateful for you being our student liaison this year. And again, repeating what my fellow board member said, you've been a very active, very attentive one. And you've been through and listened to a whole lot of discussions this year on the board. So hopefully that also will help you as you go on in your next step in your life to learn all the different opinions of everybody and how they ultimately have to come together if you're going to have a solution. So I know you're going to do an amazing job in your college career and whatever else you endeavor to be. And again, thank you so much for allowing us to have you grace our board meetings and be such an active part. So thank you. I also want to thank the policy committee. Since I was the one that appointed them, And that none of them have assassinated me yet. So I am just absolutely thrilled and amazed at the job they've done. I know that they spent hours and hours and hours going over these policies and discussing them and really, really taking every single one seriously. And I know that Chelsea has gone above and beyond in doing research and looking things up and really being a leader of this group. So I really, really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because as you know, I've been on this board a long time and this has never, ever been done like this. So I am just thrilled. I really, really am thrilled. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Hugo, I want to say congratulations to you on your graduation Saturday. That's quite an accomplishment, and we're all very proud of you too. So it's onward and upward to bigger and better things now. And I'm sure that you'll enjoy your day, and we'll all be there thinking about you. Okay, good. I also want to say congratulations to all the award winners this evening. It was so wonderful to have such a full house. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's a great feeling. And they've all worked so hard to get all those awards. And I think San Mateo County and San Mateo County Office of Education can be so proud of everything they've done to contribute to the education of the kids of this county. And that's really what it's all about. So I really want to say thank you and congratulations to all of them. And Chelsea and I will be leaving Friday to head up to Sacramento for her first delegate assembly. And I don't even know what my number is, but it's been a long time I've been on the delegate assembly. Anyway, we will be going, and then I also will be participating in the CCBE Board of Directors meeting. So once the delegate assembly adjourns at noon on Sunday, I get to be there for another 6 hours. Yay. So anyway, with that, the next regular meeting of the San Mateo County Board of Education will be Wednesday, June 14th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And this meeting is adjourned.